Improving your mentality can improve your gameplay in ways that you may not even realize. A corruptive one can hinder your growth in as little as one match. Do you know which category you fall under? Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be able to identify the answer to that question and then make the appropriate changes to help improve your gameplay. So, corruptive mentalities significantly stunt your growth. The reason for this? Inappropriate expectations. Whether it's self-imposed or community-based, inappropriate expectations, as I said earlier, can hinder your growth in as much time as it takes to complete one Crucible match. To be clear, I'm not saying expectations themselves are a bad thing, but the type of expectation you have can really undermine what it is that you're actually trying to work towards. With that being said, I wanted to take some time to go over a few different tips that you can start practicing today that will help you become a much better player in PvP. Most people that seek advice on things they want to get better at tend to look for mechanical changes they can make. You know, practicing their aim or using specific weapons that someone says is guaranteed to get you more kills. Most of the things we will talk about today do not fall under that category. While mechanical changes can be effective in providing some short-term solutions to your issues, they don't really address the underlying causes of those issues. That's where I'd like to spend some time today so that we can really change those habits to see more effective and long-term solutions to make you a better player. The first thing I need you to do is get rid of the more kills equals a higher skill mindset. Get rid of the thought that you need to get 20 to 30 kills every game in order to be considered a good player, or that you need to get a 2.0 KDA ratio to be thought of as a good player. These would be considered inappropriate expectations. Let me explain. The great thing about Destiny is that there are many different ways that you can affect the outcome of a game. You can be the person in a group of people that capture and protect zones. You can be the person on your team who runs a sniper and takes care of all long-distance engagements. Do not convince yourself that you need to take on every role for your team. Not only are you setting yourself up for failure, but you're also setting your team up for failure. Yes, there may be some times where you do take on more of the team's workload for some of your games. That is going to happen. But making a habit of it or expecting that to happen every game is a very inefficient way to approach the game, because you are going to eventually fail. A lot. And you're going to get frustrated. A lot. Maybe this is you already. Maybe by me saying this out loud, you're like, this is starting to sound oddly familiar. At which point, good. Start reframing your mindset to be more focused on what your strengths and weaknesses are. Start each match with a blank slate and find a way to recenter your thoughts on something more appropriate, something more productive, something that will actually net you some results that you are happy with. Once you've harnessed that mentality, the next thing I want you to focus on is going into each match with a purpose. Whether it's to try and use cover more frequently, or to play closer to your teammates, or even something as small as keeping track of how many times you died to a specific weapon. Make sure each match has its own purpose, and constantly remind yourself of that purpose throughout the match. For me, I know that for the most part, I can consistently get about 20 kills a game in a regular 6v6 match, give or take a few. My strengths are that I'm above average at winning 1v1 gunfights, and that I have a really good understanding of all of the maps and where their hotspots are. However, one of the things I tend to pigeonhole myself into is my positioning during those engagements. I've started noticing that whenever I'm taking a fight, I don't always use cover. I will often find myself out in the open with nothing around me to utilize if I end up needing to heal. So because of the nature of 6v6 modes, and that there more than likely will be another person to engage with in a fight, I'm often left starting off the next fight with very little health, because I have nowhere to go and heal for it. So if I begin each game with the sole purpose of making sure I take engagements and start them by using cover, or know of some cover that I can go to if I need it, then that's going to significantly change the approach that I take when I want to start a gunfight. This gives me something to work towards, something that I will be able to reflect on at the end of a match and determine whether or not I actually followed through with it during the course of that game. At that point, I can make a decision on how many times I want to practice that specific idea, or if I want to move on to another one. This tip can be used synonymously with setting goals for every match. However, make sure the goals you set are objectively based and can be measured. The best way to see growth is by setting a realistic and measurable goal that you can look back to and see whether or not you achieved it. If you start looking at your gameplay from a broader lens, you will start to see the gaps in your gameplay. And that's when you can really start honing in on your potential. One of the reasons I have been able to identify some of those things that I can improve upon is because of the next thing that I want to talk to you about, which is recording your gameplay and then reviewing it. This is one of those mechanical changes I was talking about earlier, meaning it's something you can physically change or do differently. The great thing about recording your gameplay is that no matter what platform you play on, there is an option for you. Consoles, you each have your own respective ways to record clips or share your videos. I believe both are relatively similar, where you just have to double tap the home button and it will give you an option to record or share the previous amount of time that you were just playing. PC players, depending on what type of graphics card you have, you will either have NVIDIA Shadowplay for your NVIDIA graphics card, or if you have an AMD graphics card, I believe you'll have something called Radeon Software Adrenaline. Either of these can be a way for you to record a specified amount of time that you would like to record. Maybe you want to set it to be the previous 30 seconds, or maybe you want to record the last 2 minutes. All you need to do is go within the settings of your software, set the recording time to whatever you prefer, then set up a hotkey for you to press whenever you want to record it. For me, I just set my capture button to F10. That way, whenever I do something that I want to record, I just have to hit the F10 button and it records the previous 2 minutes of gameplay. Once you've recorded your gameplay, now's the time when we can objectively look back at different points within the match. The great thing about this is that the tape doesn't lie. Sometimes our perception of what really happened can be significantly impaired by what we wanted to happen. We can often trick ourselves into thinking that one thing happened when in reality, it maybe wasn't as extreme. Or maybe you've said to yourself before that someone else's Fellwinters just absolutely mapped you when you were full health. Well, maybe you thought you were full health, or maybe you thought that person was farther away than they really were. Again, the tape never lies. Your recorded gameplay is the most unbiased piece of advice you will ever get. It can tell you exactly what happened, exactly how much health you had, or exactly where your opponent was located. Doing this for a while may be humbling for some of you at first. It was for me. There were times where in my brain, I was 100% sure what happened, that the other person must have gotten the luckiest shot on me because I was full health, and they just one-tapped me from across the map. Well, what I didn't realize is that not only was I not at full health, but they also weren't the only person shooting at me. I convinced myself that something so absurd happened without even knowing the facts, and that turned out to be my reality. The actual reality was severely different from what my reality was, and that's a tough pill to swallow sometimes. Much like everything else on this list, it's going to take some practice, and it's certainly going to take some time. There is no quick fix that can take you from a 1.0 to a 2.0, or from getting 10 kills a match to getting 30 kills a match. It's all habitual. Change your habits, change your mindset, and you will start to see permanent growth. If you want to surround yourself with people that are also trying to get better at PvP, feel free to join our community Discord server. We've got a fully functioning LFG system for all platforms, as well as some channels for you to share some of your own content you've made. If you want to check it out, I'll put the joinable link in the description, as well as in the pinned comment down in the comment section. I'd love to chat with you guys over there. If you haven't already, and if you enjoyed today's video, I would really appreciate you clicking the subscribe button. I'm very grateful for your support. A link to my Twitter is also in the description as well. I try to keep up to date with everything in the Destiny scene, and I love chatting with people over there too. I made a video recently on how you can optimize your armor loadout in the Crucible. A link to that video should be on your screen right now. Thank you all very much for watching. A positive rating is always appreciated, and as always, we'll see ya.